like this.
Well, shit. Remember when you said that you might not put the interior back in?
Yeah, I do remember.
Well, time to clean up.
On the first side, we did not know how much to cut because of the tapered arch at the back side was interfering with the stock fender, and you could not position the fiberglass part flush. We started by marking and cutting what we thought was minimally sufficient. But we saw that firstly, we need to cut even more, and secondly, the side skirt is in the way, so it was removed for the time being. Still not enough. A little bit more cutting was required, so the Bulgarian tool was once again spun up.
Call me the next Rocket Bunny, man.
Third time's a charm. Finally. No more binding, and the wide body fender was positioned according to the body lines, mainly using the headlight and the door fender line.
Sick.
Quickly, a few holes were drilled, and temporary self-tappers were screwed in to hold it in place. Then, a small piece that blends the transition between the fender and the bumper was added. After that, the TRD-style side skirts had to be cut, where it overlapped with the fender. Now that the fender was in place, it was time to cut the full arch on the stock fender. The cutting line was arbitrary, only we made sure not to cut off the stock bumper mounting point, so no further fabrication would be required. On to the other side. This time, we sort of knew what we were doing. The first cut was good enough for the wide body fender to be mounted. Be careful when drilling this hole. Not much space underneath there, so the drill bit can break.
Yes.
Oh, and don't buy the cheapest drill bits like we did. Those come pre-bent.
Geriausi Wagnerio grąžtai.
Nu taip, nes tiesiog jie geresnių neturi. Bet kreivi grąžtai tavęs dar niekad nesustabdė.
Ir nesustabdys.
The other side got the Bulgarian tool treatment as well. We decided to keep the side indicators. So while the body fender was mounted, Justas traced the hole using a marker. It took a couple of tries to get the hole right, but now we have a side indicator mounted. This is the end of day one. The front was complete, and I think it looks stunning. The next day, it was time for the rear fenders. They require for the molding to be partially removed, and further side skirt trimming for it to clear the wide body fender that mounts on the door. This fender was firstly positioned in relation to the bottom line of the door, as well as the curved line back of the door, and only mounted at a single point, so it could be adjusted in relation to the second piece of the fender. This takes quite a bit of fiddling to get it right. Then, the final position was decided when the second piece was put next to it. Now that the first piece position was fixed, the second part was placed, drilled and self-tapped. Everything seemed to clear, and the gaps were not even that terrible. Final small third piece was attached to the bumper. Finally, the side skirt was attached. The rear TRD style lip did not require any modifications, and at that point was only held at the ends. And this is the final look at the end of day 2.
Almost ready to make first cuts. We have no idea what we're doing, but I guess we'll find out what we need to do. So we're building a trophy Lexus with big meaty tires. No, but in reality we're just checking how much do we need to cut. And in reality I think this was slightly too much. Should have cut to here. And then pretty much go to this part. and this shouldn't actually be a bother for us. The suspension should not travel that much, hopefully. And actually this tire is way too big for this wheel, so hopefully no more rubbing, right?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
We chose to go the route of cutting slits into the stock inner arch and then folding the strips up to the outer quarter panel. The strip width was around 30 millimeters. The width was not planned, but rather chosen as it seemed a good compromise between wide strips, which would be more difficult to bend and leave large gaps to be filled, and smaller strips, which would require a lot more welding but smaller gaps between them.
This side the cutting is finished. We'll need to clean up and try to weld.
After both sides were cut, bent and hammered into place, the surrounding surfaces were cleaned and prepped for welding. Firstly, each strip was tack welded to the top skin of the fender, so the strip could be cut to the exact length needed. And then the welding marathon started. When welding, try not to put too much heat into one place. Firstly, you might start burning through the metal and making more trouble for yourself. And secondly, since you cannot fully access the backside of the metal, things such as sound deadening can catch on fire. So make sure to have a working fire extinguisher ready nearby. Justas did a great job and only caught fire many times. And remember that welding is the fun part. After that, the hand and mind-numbing process of grinding back the welds is necessary to cover up your not-so-perfect welding skills.
Ain't pretty, but will do the job.
Got the arches masked, ready for primer. It doesn't need to be pretty, just functional to prevent any rust. Well, to prevent some rust, because this inevitably will rust. The arch is primered up. Now time to wait for it to dry, and then the sealer.
Watching paint dry.
Up next was smearing of the seam sealer.
So got the sealer on both sides, and that's it for this day. Tomorrow hopefully it will be dry and we can wax the cavities, and that will be pretty much it. Oh, and also the anti-chip, but that's easy. Well, shit. Remember when it said that you might not put the interior back in?
Yeah, I do remember.
Well, time to clean up. Obviously, we are professionals.
Yep. Carbon.
So everything is painted, sealed. Hopefully no rust soon. Hopefully. One thing we forgot is the bumper mounting point. Since the old one was here and is now missing, a new hole was made for the bumper to attach. So the new mount is dead. It's not going anywhere.
The rear bumper corners had to be trimmed also.
Jeeps.
It's a Jeep.
Off-roader.
But now we have plenty of space here
For off-road tires.
for off-road tires or for activities. But definitely it needs to go lower. I can put 4 fingers in.
Or
I can
higher.
I can fist your arches.
That's not great.
This is all you need to do to install this type of a body kit on your Lexus IS 200. In the next video, we will be showing how we fix the scraping exhaust and install BC Racing coilovers.